Hey guys, what's going on? DJ Wat Else here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to go through a tutorial for one of the comments in my last video, and we're going to talk about tempo today. It sounds like one of the viewers and my subscribers had a question about using GarageBand and changing the tempo. It can be a little bit tricky, especially if you're working on a project, say, that is like what we're looking at the screen here. You have it set to 120 BPMs, and then let's say I were to drag this in, like you see nothing's lining up, like nothing's lining up at all. So, and you can't really, usually in Logic Pro, you can actually go ahead and stretch and drag with the flex button, and actually like make it actually like line up. Now, if anybody knows this, I've never found anything on that for GarageBand versus Logic Pro. Please write it in the comments, or make a video, link it. It's fine with me. I'm just trying to help out the guys that wanted to know about this. So this is what I do. Doesn't mean it's right. I'm just trying to give you guys some help if you guys need it. So all right, here we go. So as you can see right there, 120 BPMs, 71 BPMs is not working. So here's what I want to do. Let's say sometimes you can go ahead and double click this, the loop that you brought in, and click this, and it should change, but see, in this case it didn't. Some of the loops that I pre-make for myself, they actually do change. So it could just be a file setting for the most part, or how they're exporting the files and stuff like that. So it all depends on where you're getting your samples from. All right, so let's delete this. So here's what I want to do. The only way you're going to be able to change that setting is change your BPMs is you got to change your BPMs in the project up here to 70 BPMs, right? And just in case, before I drag that sample in, you can always change it to beats and time, beats just in general. This goes by beats, and then if you're usually doing a podcast, you just have it for time. I usually do it for the project. I'm not worried about time too much unless there's some project I'm concerned about the time, so I'll change it to beats and time. But I just keep it on beats and project for the most part. All right, so I changed it to 70 BPMs. I already know that I got a sample coming in that needs to be that. All right, here we go. Look at this. Lines right up perfect. But if we look here, I haven't touched the flex button yet, and that's a flex button. That means you should be able to, this file should be able to spread and thin out depending on what you're trying to do with it. So let's say I want to change that to 80. See? So you can see the markers here on the grid changed, but my file didn't. So you'll notice I changed it to a higher BPM on the project. This gets longer and this goes down more. All right, so let's go back to 70. Here's what we're going to do. All you have to do, let's go back. All right, all you have to do, you double click on that, or you double click on the track, and you will see that the flex button is on here, show hide flex. So also, just so you know, you go up to the scissors up here, and that gives you the option to configure that certain track right here that you have selected. Also, there's other controls on here that'll be covered in another video. All right, so let's go back to that. We go ahead and click this. Now that should change this. Now if I change it, let's go to the original. See how slow that is? Let's change that to 8. Let's change that to 85. Okay, let's see what we got going on. See, I changed it to 85, and now this is lining up. All right, cool. So now you know how to actually change it from one of your first tracks that you actually bring in. But here's another thing. So we had that selected right here. You can see we go down. The flex button is on there. But we have another track. Let's say we have. I'm gonna go in. Let me just pull a random file in here. Let's pull another drum loop in there. So I have one. Let's say that's 126 BPM. So I got a kick loop that's 126 BPMs. And see, nothing's lining up. So watch this. See, sounds like crap. Sounds like crap, right? We don't want that. Sometimes, depending on the file, you can click that and it'll automatically line up. It didn't do it here. Now, if I were to change that to 120, see, it still didn't line up. Nothing lined up. And that's because I actually have to change the setting in the project before I bring this second loop in. All right, and I believe this is what one of my subscribers was asking. If you're watching this, make sure you comment. All right, so I know that I had 126. 126. I changed the project BPM in here. All right, now I'm going to bring that loop back in again. All right, now that lines up. All right, now go ahead, double click on that. Change that. All right. All right, yeah, sounds like some break beat. Anyway, let's go back to 85. There it is. You see that change right there. I changed 85. I'll change that to say 95. Enter. You'll see these change right here. You see all the waveforms change right here. So let's just go back to 85, see what happens. 85. There it is. All right, see how everything kind of lines up? Sounds pretty good, right? All right, so that's what you have to do when you have a different tempo that doesn't line up with your BPMs in your project. So this is your project BPMs, and obviously these are your loops. All right, so where are we going with this? So you want to make sure that if you're bringing samples in, say you got like 10 samples that you're messing around with. Let's say I want to bring in some bass here. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing here. Watch this. So I have one that's 95. I just pulled it up. I have like a bass loop that's 95. So we're going to change that. All right. All right, there we go. Now let's drag that in. All right. Okay. All right, but let's say I want to change everything to 75. Let's see if anything changed. All right, see how that doesn't sound right? See, that doesn't sound good. So what you're gonna have to do is change it back to 95. All right, notice how I didn't change the flex in that. So go here, hit the flex button. So I want to make that 84. Everything's the same now. Let's go ahead and line it all up. Everything's the same. There it is. Now say I want to change it to 100. See, change it to 100. Everything's lined up over here. Good to go. All right, guys, there it is. That's how you change loops. Just make sure that you know what BPM loop you're bringing in and know that you have to change it and match it for every track that you bring in. Granted, depending on what type of loops you're using, if you made them yourself out of another project, I've noticed that you don't have to usually do this. I've noticed when you bring loops in from Splice, a lot of you guys probably use Splice that are watching this, or any other type of sample kits. Like Loop Masters or something like that, you got to make sure that you're actually changing the project up here, and then dragging the sample in, and then changing the hide and show of the flex button here. So that's it. Like I said, like and subscribe if you liked what you've seen, and I'll definitely have some more tutorials. Don't forget, there's a link in the description of this video on my website. Has a donation if you want to donate, and I'm definitely gonna come up with some more tutorials. Like and comment, tell me what you want to learn. I can help you. We won't get into sound design too much right away. We're gonna wait until later on. I got some really cool plugins that I use for sound design like I said, I don't want to go too crazy into it. I want to see what you guys want to know, and then we can go ahead and keep playing with GarageBand, and we can play some Logic Pro as well. All right, guys. Till next time, peace.